3, 2, 1. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash, and it is story time live. Trying to do two things at once, as usual. Doesn't work out too well for me. Multitasking for the win. How you guys doing tonight? Isn't it a special day today? Some sort of holiday. I don't remember these things anymore. I don't do the holiday thing. Well, let's see who's here tonight. It says Zach Richmond. Look, on the YouTube, it's a bird, it's a plane. It's just Ash on Comics. That's how you take your win when you get first. Is that you just shots at Ash? That's the new thing. If you're first, you get to take shots at Ash. Melissa is second in an uncommon second place finish for her. She says happy. Oh, it's St. Patrick's Day. That's why I'm drinking this green beer. It's not really green beer. It's just in a green can. It's a Heineken. Because screw Irish people. I drink Dutch beer. I don't know. I was told that St. Patrick's Day is cultural appropriation and it's been canceled. I hope you guys have a nice drink tonight, nice beverage. Zach says, I forgot about St. Patrick's Day. I guess I need to get some refreshing whiskey. I don't think whiskey is supposed to be refreshing. So you guys were all typing this. I was actually in the drive-thru when this was all happening. And no, unfortunately, it was not... Excuse me while I adjust my mic. Unfortunately, it was not in and out. I had my belt break. I was gonna go get some Mexican food because it's Tuesday. Because again, screw the Irish. No, I'm just kidding. I don't actually have anything against the Irish. It's just funny to say. If it were Cinco de Mayo, I'd be saying screw the Mexicans. But I just like Mexican food actually a ton, and Irish food is sus. Yeah, so Mexican food, I wanted to go Taco Tuesday. I was going to go to my favorite Mexican place, San Diego. It's called Sombrero Mexican Food, and it's awesome. And it's so rad because it's so like not PC. Their mascot is this like total stereotypical like cholo Mexican. He's got a big ass sombrero. And they sell t-shirts that are like just so stereotypical, like just Mexican. And you know they can only get away with this because they're owned by a Mexican family. There's no way if a white guys own this place, they would be canceled. But it's funny. They make great food. I love sombrero. Let's see. Zach. I already said Zach. Oh, he says he'll take a bacon cheeseburger. Unfortunately, I ended up going to Jack in the Box because it's like right down the street, and because my belt broke, and I only have, I have a dress belt, but I don't know where it's at. I haven't had to wear dress pants in a long time, so I just have one basic belt. I know it's pretty stupid, but I was putting it on, and the metal part, not the belt itself, just the buckle, like just the metal just snapped off. I was like, Jesus. So I was like, this sucks. Like my pants are gonna fall down if I don't. I can't. What the hell? So I was like, I can go through a drive-through. I was like, so. And besides, I was trying to find alternatives and stuff. I was eating up time. I didn't get to go to my Mexican shop. So I got Jack in the Box, which I ordered on the app. And I was in a rush, and I ordered a little bit wrong. So I didn't get exactly what I wanted. You guys don't care. I'm just telling stories to make me sound human. Speaking of human, where's Computer Robots? I haven't seen him around lately. Did I piss him off? LK says, what drive-through, Ash? I think I said Jack in the Box. Yeah, and I used the app so I could get free jalapeno poppers. You get free stuff when you order on the app, so I always do that. And it's crazy. The jalapeno poppers, a 3-piece jalapeno poppers cost more than a burger. So I don't know what to think about it. I was like, it's like 3 something for the 3. I was like, there's no way I'm paying 3 something for these, but it gives me free. That's another story. LK says, so I'm an outlier. I'm not liking Superman and Lois, or as I like to call it, the Kent family drama hour. You're kind of the outlier. I don't fault you for not liking it. It's media. I mean, it's CW. It's surprisingly better than average for CW. That's what I'll say. I mean, if this were on anything else, I'd be like, bleh. But on CW, you're like, oh, you guys are in the right. I mean, this is the show that gave us Batwoman. It's like, so there's some cool visuals, I have to admit. They do some cool things on the show. But what sucks is when you do some good and some bad. I'd almost rather a show just be completely trash, so I don't want to watch it at all. I'll just be like, whatever. But this is like good enough that I kind of want to see where it goes, and then I get frustrated. Episode 2 is my favorite of the 3 episodes. I think episode 3 was my least favorite. I really don't like the teen angst drama about in that show. That's what bothers me. It's like you called the show Superman and Lois, and it really should have been called John and Jordan, because it's really what the show's about, is these 2 numbskulls, which surprisingly at times are the best thing about the show. And then there's other times where I just want to see them both murdered in a very bad way. So that's another problem. He's like, oh, that was a really touching brother to brother moment. Acted out pretty well. I didn't expect that. And then the next thing, it's cringe high school crap, teen drama. Again, you can have shows like that. You remember once upon a time they had a really popular show called 90210, and it was just all about high school drama. Like, you can do that, but you called this show Superman and Lois. It's like I don't know. RDV's in the house. What's up, RDV? And Tehillim is here. Let's see. Zach says, I finally got around to watching it today. I binged the first 3 episodes. I was pleasantly surprised. Marania says, I haven't been watching it, so I might be the outlet. Marania, you think I'm negative, Nancy? Marania doesn't like things. She doesn't watch. I don't think she watches any shows. I'm surprised, Marania. You should watch something. Maybe if they ever make an Iron... Well, and I can't make an Iron Man show because Iron Man's dead. Let's see. Team says, Tomasi and Jurgens definitely need to do a team-up book together. Yeah, well, I guess that would be kind of cool. I don't know about writers teaming up so much. I'm not against it. I mean, if 2 writers like, hey, let's work together and we can brainstorm something really cool, awesome. But oftentimes I think multiple writers just get in the way. I don't know. It's like, I think both Jurgens and Tomasi know how to write. How much better will it be if they did it together? I like to think that maybe when they were on Action Comics and Superman respectively, like, they probably communicated about like where they were going with characters and stuff. I don't know. That to me is like how I want to see Tomasi and Jurgens. That's why I liked before, was Action Comics and Superman. 2 great Superman books, 2 great, creative teams. Yeah. I mean, man, we had, just think of it, once upon a time, we had Patrick Gleason teaming up with Tomasi on Superman. so good. Those days are gone. Let's see. At least one of the Super Sons makes an appearance in this episode. That is fact. Let's see. Just too much high school drama and nonsense. The focus on the show is not Clark says, okay, you are correct. it's and then the show is like really funny too. It kind of reminds me of comic books in the sense that like nothing in the show. This isn't really a big spoiler for anyone who hasn't watched it. In the show, basically, Martha Kent has passed away, and the farm's gonna go up to the bank and this and that, and it's like Lois and Clark have a choice. They can either take the equity out of the farm, which was left to Clark, or they can try to buy the bank out for the rest of the remaining mortgage for the farm, which I think was like $500,000 or something. And so they decide, they got these two sons that are just entering high school, so like 14-year-old sons, and one of them is a troubled child, of course. Of course. One of them is like the perfect kid. He's the athlete. He's the star quarterback. Even though he's a freshman, he's entering high school, but he's already taken the varsity quarterback, which is just really unheard of. But, it's Superman's kid. Okay, whatever. He hasn't displayed powers, though. He's just that good without powers. And it's some school in Metropolis. Whatever, of course. It's just the other kid is troubled, angsty, borderline, maybe autistic. And I'm not saying this to make fun of autistic people or anything. I mean, that people really have that condition. But fictional autistic characters only have that condition because someone chose to give it to them. They didn't draw the straw. And I'm not saying, I don't even know if the kid really is, but they just kind of put him into this sort of nebulous, undefined, he doesn't socialize well, things like that. So they decide, we're going to move to Smallville and get back to our roots, and we'll be able to raise our kids because we haven't been raising our kids properly. So bravo to you, parents. You decided 14 years later that you would start acting like parents. So they get to Smallville, and I guess Clark doesn't work anymore. That was kind of a shocker because I'm used to, Clark and Lois being like working the Daily Planet. Now Lois still does, and because it's 2021, you can remote in. You don't even have to really go to work anymore. So she can work from Smallville and be a hard-hitting reporter, Lois Lane. Somehow that works. Clark just kind of moses around, works on the farm, and just be Superman. Which is really weird. Doesn't have time for his kids. And then the kids are playing football. Fast forward, kids are playing football, and then Clark wants to watch over them because reasons. And it's like Lois is like nominates, like he's trying to get the job, and the coach is like, sorry, we got all the coaches we need, blah, 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 blah. He wants to be an assistant coach so he can be. And Lois is like, well, he'll do it for free, meaning like he doesn't work and he can just spend his free, I guess, time being a volunteer. And I'm like, so Lois Lane, who may or may not still be working for the Daily Planet anymore, Clark Kent doesn't have, and they're buying this farm. Like, where do they get their money? Like, no one seems to need money. It just, like, it's this socialist. It's not socialist. It's just weird utopia. It's like this story that's kind of like written for kids because like you just don't worry about real world issues. That's kind of one of the things that kind of CW does this a lot, where it's just like, we don't have to worry about these things. Let's see. Sorry, I got off. RDV's. Oh, I gotta hit. Sorry, I gotta hit the timer. There we go. 30 minutes from now, we'll be reading Lois and Clark. I like to talk a little while. It's kind of a hangout, and people are invited. Some of you guys have open invites to like be on the show, but I guess people don't like me. Woe's me. Or you guys just don't like to talk live. Some people are mic shy, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, you don't care about that. I want the show to be good. There's some really great visuals, despite them casting a Superman who's feels kind of scrawny. He's like feels like this little guy. And it doesn't help that they cast Lois Lane to be like, feels like she's at least as tall as him. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like she's taller than him. Like, this is weird. And I don't know. Superman, I always like the corn-fed Kansas boy Superman, the big, just, and Clark Kent being that, because of that he's kind of this big, but he's kind of a lumbering goof. I think we may have had our first joiner. Do we? Someone here? Who's here? Oh, is that you, Zach? We got someone who you gotta talk if you're gonna be here. Maybe you're working on your mic. Anyways, I'll let Zach work out his technical difficulties. What was I saying? Oh, Smallville. I don't know. It is what it is. Some people are really liking it. Oh, there's Zach. What's going on, buddy?
I'm talking. Test.
You are talking. Hello, you're live on the air with Ash on Comics.
Test.
Do you not hear me? Zach's still having technical issues.
Test.
Zach, can you hear me now?
Testing.
All right. So I put Zach in timeout because we can't be testing the mics live on air. It's not. This show's already trashy enough. Zach, I don't know what's going on with you. I had to move you. No hard feelings though. I wish your mic was working good. Let's see. Turn up your mic, Ash on Comics. Yes, sir, LK, sir. I'll turn it up. How's that now? Better. I hope that is. I have the mic turned down a little bit because when I have guests on, their mic is usually lower than mine, and that way you guys can raise your volumes up without me blowing out. So, let's see. Dragon Master says St. Patrick's Day at midnight. Oh, is it not? It's St. Patrick's Day tomorrow? Oh, maybe that's why Melissa, because Melissa's already in Tomorrowland. Dragon Majesty says he's 1/8 Irish. Well, it's better than Elizabeth Warren, so I guess that counts. As long as you're at least 1/1000th, you can claim race, apparently. Ronnie says, read the novelization of The Death and Life of Superman. Sam Lane is a hard ass to his daughters because he wanted sons. Okay. I think it's interesting. Like, the Sam Lane in the show is weird. I don't know. That's not an important character to me. Zach says you need a belt to go out. If I want to hold my pants up, I do. I just wasn't prepared for anything else. I gotta put on. I could dig out. I have a dress belt somewhere, but I was on a time crunch, so I was just putting on my jeans and I was buckling them up, and it was just fell apart in my hands. I was like, "What the f?" So, Eric Breen is here. He says, "Hi, kids." You should probably not say hi, kids, if you don't want people to make you feel old. He says he's heading to bed. He's going to leave this playing for us old watch time. Well, I appreciate that. I would rather actually have you hear it than just get watch time. I'm not monetized, so it doesn't help me in any way, I guess, but thank you. Let's see. Zach at Buffalo Wings, they're giving out free wings for each college basketball game that goes into overtime. Oh, I love Buffalo Wings. Let's see. I don't like the Arrowverse or DCEU, period, says Melissa. There's a lot of people that feel that way. Let's see. Okay, says, is it better than most CW shows? Yes, but it doesn't mean that it's a good show. It's bordering on forgettable for me. Yeah, one of the other problems I'm having with the show is the villains. I just want a Superman show that has Superman villains and he saves the day and we get Superman stories. I feel I think there's been one. Think about this. All the Superman movies and TV shows. Well, Smallville doesn't count. That's a Superboy show. All Superman movies and TV shows. What villains has he had that's not been Lex Luthor or Super Kryptonians? You have to go back to Superman 4, Quest for Peace. Because Superman 1, right? You have Lex Luthor. Superman 2, Zod. Superman 3, Lex Luthor. Superman 4, I forget what that character's name was. Solar Man or something weird. Then you got Man of Steel. Again, Zod. You got Batman vs. Superman, Lex Luthor. You've got, then there hasn't really been TV shows. It's been a long time. I guess I haven't really ever watched a Lois and Clark TV show, but I don't know. I just feel like that's it. That's all that there is. And it's weird because I watch the Krypton television. By the way, it's not a great show either, but it's not CW-y either. It kind of feels like old school, like Sci-Fi Channel type of sci-fi show is Krypton. And it's really interesting. It takes place 200 years before Krypton blows up. And it feels like a classic sci-fi show, complete with all the cheesy budget effects and sets and everything. But some cool stuff and some like actually interesting lore. One of the things I liked about that show, minor spoiler, close your ears if you don't want to hear this, is in that show they talk about, well, the reason that Krypton blows up is because Brainiac takes Kandor and bottles it up. And when he removed that whole city from Krypton, it caused a destabilization in the planet's core and crust, and everything. And so eventually caused a chain reaction and blew up. And the show is really cool. It features, what's his name? Adam Strange, time traveling to try to make sure that this happens. He's there for various reasons, but he's also ends up trying to stop because Brainiac is one of the main villain, because he's going to show up and it's like, take Kandor. And he's like in this conundrum of like, do I stop it? Can't stop it. This has to happen because this is what causes the explosion of the planet. And then some of the characters find out that he knows that this is supposed to happen. And they're like, you're going to just let this, but it's like he comes from the future and he can't alter the past. So it's like really interesting. I was like, man, there's some clever writing in here. It's not the best show ever. It's got some cheese to it, but really interesting world building and plot concepts. I think there's multiple seasons. I'm enjoying it. I was like, wow, why did this show get? I mean, there's some goofy stuff that they do, like they race swap the Zod family. Like the entire Zod family is black, which I just find it really weird when you have to make alien species have all of the same races as humans. You remember when they like back in Voyager day when they introduced the black Vulcan? I'm like, really? Do we need every alien species to be diverse? Humanity's diversity, like you're an alien. Like, I don't know. I don't call for it. Like if you cast, like for example, Klingons. Klingons were traditionally played, at least after the original Star Trek, for like Next Generation on. Klingons were traditionally played by black people. I wasn't ever like, no, we need white people to be some Klingon. Like, it's like, cool. There's a certain disposition, tonal quality to their voices and things like that. And it just made Klingons feel that way. And in fact, in Star Trek 3, when they got what's-his-nuts to play the Klingon, it felt weird. What was his name? God, the Doctor in Back to the Future. It's like, you're a weird Klingon. But I don't know. It's just one of those weird things. And then I was like, wait a second. If you're going to be woke and race swap, I understand. I mean, I don't agree with it, but I understand what you're doing. But did you think it through to make the biggest villains of all of Krypton, make them the black guys. It's like, that's really maybe you were inadvertently doing against what you were thinking you were doing. It's weird. Let's see. Is it better than... Okay, Smallville was better. Superman and CW Crisis ruined him by depowering him and turned him into Batman into a murder. You can't ruin characters in Elseworlds, Melissa. None of this stuff actually happened. It's just an alternate take. Morani says she did watch WandaVision, and she has Iron Man animated series on her Disney Plus watch list. Oh, you got Disney Plus. Do you got... Okay, obviously, since you watch WandaVision. Well, you can watch all the CW shows for free on the CW website. Now, you have commercials, but you don't need to subscribe to anything. So that is a plus. I do respect that. So if anyone is interested in checking out Superman, and you're like, I don't have... Because I don't even have TV. I don't have CW.com. You can watch all those shows. I need to find and revisit Lois and Clark and see how much Lois is non-hero drama. I mostly remember most episodes were standalones, and Dean Cain was just an enjoyable Superman. Zach says Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning did a great run of Guardians of the Galaxy. Totally off subject. Dean says, well, in Justice League, Scott Snyder and Tinian teamed up. Sorta. They sort of tag teamed. Tinian did all the the Legion of Doom issues, which were like generally like every 5 issues. I don't know how much of that is an actual team up. Again, it's really difficult when 2 writers collaborate like that. It's really difficult to know who does what. Only one writer can actually write. So typically when you have 2 writers, you know, they sit in a room, they brainstorm, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but only one person actually puts pen to paper and, you know, puts it all out there. So that's another weird thing about writing. Tevye is in the house. He says, I loves this story. If there's one way to get Tevye to come around, it's throw Jonathan Kent up. He'll be like, I'm there. Let's see. Clark does have a rich billionaire friend who dresses like a bat, says Zach. That is true. And we know that Batman exists in the CW universe because in season 1 of The Flash, I got to remember right. Season 1 of The Flash, they mentioned Batman, and then they never mentioned him since. It's like one episode they talk about like this caped guy in Gotham fighting crime, and then it's like never again. And then it's I think it's kind of weird when they have like all the metas and stuff. They're like, oh, it's like all this new stuff. I'm like, you literally mentioned Batman. And is Superman doesn't exist? I thought Superman exists in the CW world. It's really tough. They need to get their acts together. Zach says his internet's on the fritz. Well, unfritz it. Scrolling down. Superman, Lois and Clark is a good book. Prelude to the Tomasi Rebirth run. Superman 3, The Machine, which is meant to be film adaptation of Brainiac. I don't know. That was so loose that I don't even consider that to be Brainiac. However, Brainiac in Krypton is awesome. I was like, this is what we want. This is what... Brainiac in Krypton is awesome. Too bad we don't get to see him fight Superman because it's not a Superman show. Dragon says, was it Nuclear Man in Superman 4? It might have been. It was something like that. I want to think Lois and Clark had a variety. I remember Larry from Perfect Strangers played Mr. Mitsoplik. You guys are talking about the old CBS show. I want Parasite, Metallo, Mongol, Brainiac, Chemo, Lobo. Come on, WB. That's rough to do, Zach. I mean, they already got Master Chief. I mean, how much more can you do than... Have you guys seen the villain in Superman? It's Master Chief. It's so funny. Every time I see it, I have to laugh. Well, I mean, it's pretty cool. Some people probably would like to see Master Chief versus Superman. Let's see. Tehillim says the twist in the first season of was okay on Krypton. Let's see. Melissa says Bizarro. Yeah, Bizarro would be cool if you could pull that off right. LK says, well, if Krypton doesn't blow up, no Superman to save Earth. It would like what happened to Doctor Who died fighting the Spider Queen. Well, that's Greek to me. You gotta speak to Jimmy about that. I don't know Doctor Who. All I know is he's some kooky guy and he has a wand and he runs around and there's like a woo is on the opening credits, and then there's the most dangerous thing in the universe are these like trash cans with arms. Oh man, I like to poke fun at things. Dragon Majesty says Andorians are all blue for you, Ash, on Star Trek. Why is it? Why do I need all blue? LK says Christopher Lloyd. Yes, Christopher Lloyd was the Klingon in Star Trek 3. It's so weird. So weird. Those old Star Trek movies they're classic. They're all goofy except for Star Trek 2, which for some reason is like this masterpiece of a film that just sort of came out of nowhere. Who was weirder as a Klingon in Star Trek 3? John Larroquette. Was John Larroquette also in there? Dragon says, I like Krypton for the most part. Cool Brainiac, right? I think Smallville was set in an alternate universe, though. They had a Tom Welling and Erica Durance guest star in one of the Crisis crossovers. Of course it was in an alternate universe. All these shows are in an alternate universe. They're in our multiverse, right? Or maybe this, I don't know how they do that. You know, the CW shows are supposed to be Earth 1, right? So in the comics are Earth 0. Let's see. All right, cool. I made it to the end of the chat. LK says, don't make me hurt you, Ash, on comics. We have enough pain with the current Who as it is. Oh, did I hit a sore spot of Doctor Who? I'm so sorry. Ooh, I can't do the the little woo part in the song. It is pretty cool. I do like the opening Doctor Who music. It's kind of kooky and weird. Let's check out some comics. I reviewed Ultraman #1 on my channel, and it was a while back. And look, all of them are out now. It's a 5-issue miniseries. I gave this a pretty sincere, positive review. It was pretty good. If you're an Ultraman fan, you might want to check this out. And you can get them all for less than $1 now on Comixology. You know, Marvel's desperate when they're immediately like, the 5th issue's out. Okay, put it all on sale. Because no one buys our books. Well, maybe if you quit letting all your pros go on Twitter and talk shit to fans and tell fans how much they suck and how much they hate them, and then also doing really shitty work on top of it, you might not have this problem. Let's see. Batman killing on CW and DCU is disgusting and wrong. And I side with Professor Geek, Fat Man, and the anti-Snyder and CW sites. I don't think Batman is on CW, so I don't think he can kill. So we got some sales. If you like Justice League, apparently there's a big sale on a bunch of Justice League stuff. So there you go. You can get your Justice League on. There's really no more other sales, unfortunately. It's still like Woman's Month. So we have to celebrate like a Valiant Fierce Female sale. Livewire is trash. This is so trash. It's awful. Faith. Dr. Mirage. The Forgotten Queen. The Forgotten Queen is one of the most forgotten books Valiant's ever made. Like, this book came and went. War Mother. I haven't even heard of this. Yeah. Just How the Mighty Have Fallen. Valiant used to be so great. Like, legitimately great. Tonight we're going to be reading Lois and Clark. I got 9 minutes on the timer. Melissa says she's anti-Disney, Star Wars, and unapologetically anti-communist and anti-SJW too. Well, that's fine, Melissa. You don't have to chant it all the time, though. It's like it's one thing. I get it. You don't like it. Um, say Fan Man is a really nice guy. I think I've heard Fan Man before once or twice. He seemed like cool. Um, I just here's the thing. Like, there's a lot of bad things, especially in today's world. A lot of things are getting screwed up, especially in the media. It's being used to fight a culture war, and it's terrible. But there gets a point where you talk about it and you voice your disgruntlement and you say your piece. There's a point where that crosses over into like reeing. Like remember when Trump won president and people were just like, yeah, for 4 years straight. And remember how what a bad look that was? It was like, look, we get it. You didn't like it. Like, I don't know. I just try to be conscious of not being the same thing for other issues and things. I'm not going to deny that, but there's a point where just constantly hammering on it. It's like beating a dead horse. I guess that's where I go. So yeah. Anyways, I decided I was going to do Lois and Clark tonight because of the show, Superman Lois. And I know a lot of people are liking it. We're getting some positive feedback. Some people are typing in my Discord how much they're enjoying the show. I've been typing my feedback of the show kind of as I watch it. I tend to be the most negative about the show. So LK, if you want to come in and back me up, so I'm not the only person, you can come in there. I'm trying to be fair to it. I'm recognizing when it does things I like and pointing out the things that I don't like. I thought, let's read a comic that essentially this is borrowed from. The idea of Superman having kids really comes from this. And they're not copying Lois and Clark, that show, but they are borrowing the concepts. I mean, one of the kids' name is Jonathan. And I thought this would be a good contrast, a compare and contrast to see how did Dan Jurgens approach this versus how is the CW approaching it. Now, I loved Tomasi's run, unabashedly. His run is I always liked Superman, but I was never like a Superman fan per se. I was kind of one of those guys that had a positive outlook on Superman. If they make a Superman movie, I'm like, yeah, cool. I hope it's good, but I was never like, oh yeah, I'm Superman. Like I was like, I could, whatever, it's there. It was the Superman run with Tomasi that made me really love the character to the point of being a fan and wanting to follow it more. Furthermore, he made me a fan of Jonathan Kent, which on the surface, I admit my prejudice. When I saw Jonathan Kent, especially in the Super Sons comic, I was like rolling my eyes like, oh my God, this is dumb. It's a Superboy, Super Bat Boy. Like, just like, this is so silly. Like, I don't have time for this. And I used to kind of mock the book. I admit it. But it was so popular. And I was reading the Superman book, and I was liking Jonathan Kent in the book. And I was like, well, maybe I would like Super Sons because Tomasi also writes that book. And I also happen to really like the art. Jorge Jimenez doing the art in that book. Astonishing. And so I was like, you know what? Let me give this book a try. And of course, it was astounding. And Tomasi just understands both those characters. And really was doing an amazing coming-of-age story, which I loved. And I'm just really kind of mad that DC murdered that. Anyways, suffice it to say, for whatever reason, I never read this. I don't know why. So I have The Road to Rebirth by Tomasi, which leads into his Superman run. But I don't have the Superman Lois and Clark, which I presume leads into Action Comics, which is the Jurgens run. I never read this. I've heard decent things. Some people like RDV absolutely love Dan Jurgens. So if he's around, hopefully he'll get a good story. Ronnie says that's a weird layout for the cover. Superman's right fist looks like he's hitting Jonathan Kent on the top of the head. Yeah, you're not wrong. It's, that's what we call a tangent there, kids. It's not kind of weird. It's weird to also like have Superman on the cover twice. You see, like, why are we doing that? Why is he? I don't know. Let's see. Clark Superman with a beard is a neat lumberjack Papa Bear look, says Manya. Yeah, this is Clark White. So this is, for those of you that don't know, in the New 52, the Superman in the New 52 is different. He's the New 52 Superman. Pre-Flashpoint, the Superman that existed pre-Flashpoint and his wife Lois, Superman was able to escape the Flashpoint and avoid it. That Flashpoint, as my understanding, was what led into the New 52 taking over and being that universe. Well, Superman, this one, ends up finding his way there, and he's hiding out on the planet. Well, that planet already has its own version of Superman and Lois as well. And so he assumes a different identity. Instead of Kent, he's the Whites, and they live on the farm. That's another thing. They live in, I don't know if it's not the farm. It's not the Kent farm, but a farm, very similar type farm. And they just, they're like, look, I don't have to be Superman because this world already has a Superman, and we can just sit quietly and raise our kid and da-da-da-da. And I read the second half of that whole story culmination, The Road to Superman, of how Superman dies and Clark ends up taking over. And I think it's a beautiful story written by Tomasi. And that's how we have the Superman we have today. So the Superman we have today in Rebirth is the Superman that existed before the New 52. So yeah. Let's see. Super Noogie. Ash used his stimulus for comics, says Melissa. Unfortunately, I have not ever and am unlikely to receive this stimulus as well. I have not received any stimuluses since COVID, and I'm probably not going to get this one because not everyone gets stimuluses, folks. Surprise! 1.9 trillion is being spent of your tax money to give about 200 billion away in stimulus money to only part of the country. You're all being had. And this time, I don't even know if 200 billion is going to go out because I think they're only the requirements to get the stimulus is all goofy. And they're basing it on your income in 2019. So it's kind of funny. So you have people in 2019 who you might have had a good income, but then now you have no job or whatever because of COVID. But you made too much money in 2019, so no stimulus for you because that's your government for you. Let's see. Melissa says his soul and the New 52 Superman souls merged. Yeah, that was a story that they did later. It's kind of weird. I just like the death of Superman story. And like knowing this is the original Clark Kent. I think it's pretty cool. Oh, there's the beeping. You know what that means, kids. Buckle up. Because you're going for a ride. You know what movie that's from? You should take my name after it. Sorry, it wouldn't be Comixology if it didn't crash. Melissa says, I need the money and my family is poor. I don't begrudge you it, Melissa, and I hope you get it. I'm not exactly rich myself by any means. There's a lot of people hurting right now, and the government is, It's causing a lot of problems. I don't want to go on political. Let's read some Superman, Lois and Clark, and get a little bit of how do you say, escapism. Uh, this is going to be a cold read. I have never read this particular story myself. As always, the disclaimer follows that I am not a professional voice actor, so I will do my best in reading it. Sometimes the lettering is weird, and as I read panel by panel, I can't always see what's coming next, so I sometimes will voice the characters incorrectly because all I see is a word balloon, but I don't know who's talking. So it's like, oh, look, I just used Lois's voice, and it was Superman talking. So if that happens, roll with it, I guess. That's a cool cover. This is cooler than the cover. This should have been the cover. Well, maybe not. Lois with a gun. That's outrage. RDV, where are you? This is Dan Jurgens. I read Dan Jurgens books for RDV. He's one of his favorite writers. And he's not here. Arrival, Part 1. Hold on, I gotta clear my throat. All right. And here we go. I remember it like it was yesterday. We'd only been here a day or so. An entire world new to us. Them, familiar, but so very young. Unaccustomed to the sheer level of power they were confronting. Just when it appeared hopeless, there he was. Not my Superman, but Superman nonetheless. Even then, the battle wasn't won. They needed more. But in that instant, Cyborg closed the boom tubes. I will return. And it was over. Darkseid was beaten. They're all gone. Nice job, kid. To this day, I'm amazed he held back. My husband was a microsecond away from stepping in. Are you kidding me? You're crashing again, you piece of... I think it's this browser. It seems to only happen on this browser. My apologies. This wouldn't be an Ash on Comics video if it didn't have all the technical crap in the world fallen. All right. Take 2. My husband was a microsecond away from stepping in. From revealing himself as Superman. I'm grateful it didn't come to that. This Earth is so different from our own. Suspicious, doubting, edgy, without faith. Have another one of them accelerating past Mach 2. Stay on him. We need to get a handle on. Too late. He's gone. So fast I didn't even get a good look at him. We didn't fully grasp all the differences, but we knew we couldn't let them know about us. About our baby. where a group of colorful, self-termed heroes appear to have saved Metropolis from a truly disastrous fate. Well, that was interesting. I was listening, Clark. Thought for sure you'd get involved. Almost did, Lois. Their inexperience was obvious, but they pulled it out. Cyborg teaming with the League instead of the Titans? I may never get used to this world. Here, you must be freezing. Oh, thank you. I've been so busy feeding Jonathan that I didn't have time to... Oh, I see. Wrong word balloons again. Take two. Here, you must be freezing. Oh, thank you. I've been so busy feeding Jonathan that I didn't have time to light the fire. This place isn't so awfully bad, you know. Leaky, rustic, and crude maybe, but it's our rustic and crude. You deserve better. What matters is that we're together. Even on an Earth so different from ours. Another Wonder Woman and Batman. Another me. As long as I have you and John, I can be happy. We lost a lot, Lois. Parents, family, friends, everything. When we were first imprisoned on Telos, we didn't know our Earth. Our whole universe was gone forever. Life went on. We made the most of it. We had Jonathan. Since we had no home to return to, Brainiac, a level of Brainiac I never even knew existed, offered to send us to any universe we wanted. We couldn't go right away, not when there were others, an infinite number of them that needed us first. Brainiac sent us back to the first crisis in order to prevent the collapse of the multiverse. It took everything we had and more, but we did it. With the Anti-Monitor's defeat, time and the multiverse reset itself. I wish Barry, Kara, and Hal would have stayed, but they wanted to find their destinies elsewhere. I hope they find the happiness they're looking for. Speaking of happiness, I could fix this place up in a heartbeat, you know. How would you explain it to the farmer that's letting us stay here? He's already wondering how you managed to repair his tractor so quickly. Oh, man, are you effing kidding me? Sorry. This never happens on the app, by the way. When you use the Comixology app, it actually really works well. I don't know why the website is trash. And I think it, again, I think it might be this browser. What browser are you using, Ash? Well, I'm glad you asked. This is the Avast browser that I decided to use because I wanted a second browser from when I was streaming, so I didn't accidentally use my primary on screen. Anyways, I don't need to use this anymore. But it's the one I have set up, so I'm lazy. I'm going to switch. All right. Continuing on. Our lives have taken a major turn, Clark. Right now, this wonderful baby boy, this treasure, is what matters most. You're right, Lo. As always. You're catching on, Smallville. We'll have to adapt. They don't trust their own Superman, and they won't trust me. They tried to follow me. If I operate in the open, they'll hound me until they find us. We have to go underground, be someone else. As long as we're a family. Yes, I remember it like it was yesterday. Though the years have flown by, my baby has become my little man. Watch out, Ranger. Roof. Don't wanna. Ranger! Darn it. You're. Cut it out, Ranger. I gotta get ready for school. Slurp. Indeed you do. Let's get moving, Jonathan. Mom! I hate doing chores before school. That's why you should have done this last night. Why can't Dad do this? Where is he anyway? Apollo got out of the barn again. He's trying to coax him back. Besides, wood duty is your job, mister. Nuts. None of my friends have as many chores as I do. Why do I have to do so much? Developing a work ethic and learning a sense of responsibility are positives, John. If I miss the bus, it'll be your fault. So hustle upstairs and brush your teeth. I have to be in the city this morning, John. I'll drop you on the way. Mom! Ranger's drinking out of the toilet again. Bleep. Pacific tsunami warnings have been removed as the threatening turbulence appears to have mysteriously subsided. Mysteriously. Is the coast clear? Clark. You look... Are you okay? I'll be fine. Just need a minute or two. It's happening again, isn't it? I won't lie, Lois. Digging a 13-mile-long trench in the ocean floor is not as easy as it used to be. These power fluctuations. No need to worry, Lo. I can still get the job done. That's what matters most. I'd still like to know more. This is one of those situations where working alone hurts. I'm capable of dealing with this and more. That's today? I've been so involved with my book that I'd forgotten. Headline reads, Excalibur due to return today. Lengthy loss of communication casts doubt about crew's survival. Hank Henshaw. This version, anyway. In our universe, he gained tremendous powers when his ship, the Excalibur, crashed. He went on to become one of my deadliest enemies ever. Cyborg Superman. Almost fooled the world into thinking he was you. You're worried history will repeat itself? Hard telling since he's been gone the whole time we've been here. Off on a 10-year mission to Jupiter, just now returning. Contact was lost months ago. Who knows what happened out there? This one scares me, Clark. Lois. Isn't your other work enough? That scrapbook. If John finds it, enough. Oh, wait. I added that part wrong. Sorry. It's for him when he's older, silly. No sooner. I'm ready. Morning, Jono. Why are you guys always all smoochy and stuff? Because we love each other. Just like we love you. Yuck. Thanks for bringing in the wood. Your hair is wet. If you were chasing the horse... After which I took a shower. I didn't hear the water running. Time to go, John. So which horse was it that got out? Zeus. Bye. But Mom said, Jonathan Samuel White. Move it or you'll be tardy. Okay. Could have sworn you said it was Apollo. Dude, seriously, I don't know what's up with the crashing. This over. It usually just happens once. Sorry. Continuing on. Good thing we took White as our last name when we arrived. No way we could have maintained secrecy once this world's Kent was outed as Superman. We depended on anonymity. What Lois has done with her books, she's an amazing agent of change. I'm invulnerable, I can fly. She's bringing about awareness and justice with her wits. And taken down some dangerous people in the process. Sorry I'm late, Lois. Precautions take time. You sure you weren't followed, Cora? 100%, though I doubt anyone would. Given the nature of my new book, we have to be careful. Intergang, Global Scourge. First draft, hope you like it. How could I not? Author X is one of the most celebrated authors alive. If you ever decide to go public, never. You know why it has to be that way, Cora. Give it a read and send me your notes once you're done. Destroy that flash drive. Whatever you want, Lois. What I want is to make sure I'm never found out. At first, life was a struggle. Took time to get used to the differences here. My old enemies, for example. Hoped to forestall their emergence by tracking them down secretly. Found old names that were no longer problems, and new names that were. Now it's Henshaw's turn. The one I knew, created in circumstances similar to this, destroyed Coast City. He can't go unchecked. Can't let a disaster turn him into a monster. The questions surrounding this mission make me... there. The Excalibur. The ship looks fine. The crew? Maybe I don't have anything to worry about. Boom! Tumbling out of control. Upside down. Have to flip it. Get the heat shield in place. Forces. Incredible. May not be what I was, but I can't let them burn. Come on. Roll, damn it. Roll! Look! An omen from the gods. We are blessed. Interior heat had to exceed safety regs. Everybody out before... No. Help me. Where are the others? Where's the rest of the crew? California. Lancaster Elementary School. Jason paid $42 for hot dogs, $12 for buns, $18.37 for soda, and $11.59 on plastic plates and tableware. How much change will he get back if he pays with a $100 bill? Let's see. John? Mr. White? Psst. John, wake up, doofus. Airline pilot reports seeing a man trying to save the Excalibur. John's watching on his smartphone hidden in his book. Jonathan! He shouldn't buy plastic because it isn't sustainable. Wrong answer. Slam. If you won't listen to me, perhaps you'll listen to Principal Simmons. 1605? 1604, that's it. Aw, nuts. Meanwhile, in a distant star system. The museum is secured, mistress. It awaits your magnificent presence. You should have fled it when you had the chance. Why? It's gone, I'm telling you. Gone. Liar! Only a fool would relinquish the oblivion stone. Tears of blood. You speak the truth. And I would have used it to stop you if I still had it. I could have saved us. Perhaps. Which is why I will slay any who get in my way, until the stone is mine. All right. End of book 1. Let's see. Dragon Magic says Evil Dead or Army of Darkness. Yes. That is Army of Darkness. I'm almost positive. When he puts I think it's skeletons on the catapult. He's like, buckle up, bonehead. You're going for a ride. Let's see. Melissa says, to quote Leprechaun, I need me gold now. I could use some gold, that's for sure. Zach says, look at that opening panel. Love it. Yes. Is Flash throwing Aquaman? Fishball special. Stupid. Clark said, you're effing kidding me in my head. Vanya says, super glitches. Yep. It says, did you clear your browser cache? No, I haven't. It probably might fix that. This has been an issue for a long time, but it hasn't happened like more than once. Usually it's just because when I boot up the browser, it saves your tabs and it just connect anyways, and it loses its login. So I'm like, okay, I understand. But multiple times in the same stream, weird. And I don't want to do that right now. Clear it. I'm just going to use a different browser next time. I just need to not cut it close and give myself more time to prepare. Zach says space shuttle, no contact. Sounds like space zombies to me. Right? Zach says classic parental error. Gotta get your white lies straight. Hey, White Lies. Their last name is White. Oh, the puns. Oh, Dragon says maybe they took Perry White's name out of respect. You know, I didn't think about that, but that's a good observation. Zach says $42 for hot dogs. What on earth? Well, it is California. I don't need to remind you. All right. Well, you guys aren't very talkative, so we're going to continue on to part 2 of Superman, Lois, and Clark. Crashed again. Oops, there was an error. Why is it happening so much? I don't know. Our first years were challenging. Did you know I won a Pulitzer? That my credentials could get me an interview with anyone? Brum. Of course you know, because you're mommy's big boy, aren't you? Brum, bum, brum, bum, 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 bum. Our old lives were long gone. Jobs, address, identities, John, the planet itself, everything was different. Yes, and I love you too. I can't do the baby voices. What am I doing, you ask? Writing about a flower show for the Valley News. Is that dopey or what? Oopie. Darn right. Mommy and Daddy need money. Knock, knock. I think we better answer the door, don't you? Mr. Montgomery. I know we're late with the rent, but... Oh, I know you're good for it, Lois. Your husband is about the hardest worker I've ever had. And call me Shell. Seeing you in this old place of mine, why, you're just about family. Oh, you're far too kind. Coffee? Please. That John, he's growing like a weed. Eat. You kids have done this place proud. All the patching, painting, and papering. I don't know how you got so much done. Like you said, Shell, Clark is an amazing worker. I'm hoping he can help me fix a fence. Sorry, but he went into town for parts. I hated lying to Shell. But I couldn't tell him the truth. That Clark was deep underground, 1,600 miles away, doing a job that only Superman can do. Move! Clark avoided daylight in cities whenever possible. But it was either get involved or watch Chicago die. Like that was an option. Earthquakes. Here. Bash. This is artificially generated. But how? And by who? Print a story calling me Shockwave. A 2-bit simpleton? Eat it, Chicago. Bram. What? Crack. Something pulling me. Ow. Shockwave got his powers from his armor, so... Hey! It's a magic tornado! Help! I would have let him fall. Yeah! Not Clark. A well-placed puff cushioned the blowhard's landing. If I turn this armor in, it might get used again. Wait. Jet turbines. It's them. Again. Reading a bogey over the city. Orders. Must be associated with the attack. Bring it down, Charger. Missile away. Adjusting to this Earth's fear and suspicion was hard. Clark often had to dodge surveillance efforts. Or worse. The missile detonated again. Cause unknown. Bogey is long gone. Moved faster than I could follow. Return to base, Charger. Not being able to trust the authorities only made our lives more difficult. Better take Shockwave's armor with me. The barn will do for now. Eventually, I need to find a better solution. Right now, all I want is to be home. Clark, radio says Chicago is safe. Nothing I couldn't handle. You look beat. Days like this make me wonder if I should ask you to stop. Kind of like asking the wind not to blow, Lois. Hey, Jono. How's my guy? Addie. Yes, those were both challenging and wonderful times. Times change. Today, things are a little more complicated. Rescue 1 to base. We have full confirmation. Excalibur is down. Reporters and civilians not allowed, buddy. My people will escort you back to the perimeter. I don't think so. Oh. Sorry. I didn't realize it was you, Mr. Chambers. What's the situation, Colonel? Just as the Excalibur was entering orbit, we detected an explosion on board. Miraculously, it survived, ended up here. Miraculously. Anyway, once we got it here, the crew was gone. Huh? How'd you know? Lucky guess. No communication from the crew in months. Lord knows what might have happened on Jupiter. You think autopilot brought it back? That's what the big brains at NASA figure. Yet, it landed intact. Despite an explosion, it didn't roll over and burn up on re-entry. Interesting development, Colonel. Excalibur's garbage bins are full. Food stores drawn down. Almost like it had some help. Which means someone was on board. Anything else? Yes, sir. One of our satellites snapped a photo of her as she was coming in. Take a look underneath. Almost looks like it could be human. Maybe. Maybe not. If so, I'll add it to my list of unexplained mysteries. California. Check it out. White's in trouble again. Break another window. That was an accident, Roman. I didn't mean to hit the ball that hard. I wasn't paying attention in class. Always something with you, White. He was watching the news on his phone. Using a phone in class? Good thing you're such a suck-up, or you'd be in real trouble. You take that back. Make me. Jonathan Samuel White? Incoming. Aren't you in enough trouble for today? Hi, Mom. What do you have to say for yourself? I was kind of more interested in the Excalibur. See ya, Samuel. Why don't you go home and work on paying attention and come back tomorrow? Thank you, Principal Dubois. Did you consider having the kids watch the news as part of class? Speaking of news, it's been a long time since I saw your byline in the Valley News, Miss White. That's because I don't work there anymore. Clark and I have our hands full fixing up the old Montgomery place. But, Mom, I see you writing on your laptop all the time. Shh. Am I going to lose video games again? Man, it's like a record number of times tonight. Luckily, it's like saving the space, and I can just get right back into it. So it's not terribly upsetting. Before you say anything, I know I was wrong, but just think about it, Mom. That ship was coming home after years in space, and no one had heard a word from him. Who knows what might have happened? I understand, John, but you can't tune out of class that way. Real world stuff is way more interesting. I can work on math any old time. But a ship that went all the way to Jupiter? Truth to tell, if I had a smartphone at your age, I'd probably have done the same thing. Really? Really. Look out! Mom! Woof. Hang on, John. Screech. Ugh. Oh, shit. Dude's mean business. Door's open. Might have got out. No prob. Help is on the way. Good. Whoop. You'll need it. Clark? Protocol Omega, we... John? Check. John? What? Thank God. How did you... Never mind that now. The woods. Run. Who are those guys? Why are they after us? And what's Protocol Omega? I'm sure it's just a case of Sorry. Take two. I'm sure it's just a case of mistaken identity, John. Now, I want you to run as fast and far as you can. Trust no one. Find a good hiding place, and Daddy will find you. I promise. No, I'm staying with you. Listen to me, John. There might be more coming. You have to go. She's in the woods. Move in. Spread formation. I'll call in her license plate number to see if... Smashed. Got the rocket launcher, Smitty? Smitty? I say we just open up on her, guys. With all the firepower we got, no way she survives. Right? Guys? Where? Ugh. It's so quiet. Come with me, Mom. We can both get away. Everything is fine now. Dad! Let's go. Where's the guys with the guns out by the road? Oh, sorry. There's guys with guns out by the road. I know, John. We are so glad to see you. Why is this happening? Roadside muggers have been in the news thing. With machine guns? Hey, our car. How did it get here? I drove it in. I didn't see any tire tracks. Young grass. It bounces back. Oh. Where were you, Dad? How'd you find... You're safe now. Go on home, and I'll wait for the police. But... Daddy is right, hon. It's best that we go. We feared this type of day more than any other, of exposing John to danger. When this Earth's Kent was inexplicably outed as Superman, we considered moving. But we stayed, and doubled down on making this work. And that's what we'll do. Vehicle 1 clean. Have to make sure there are no notes, photos, record, or trace of Lois and John. You sure we're safe? 100% positive? Near as I can tell, Lois. I went through everything they had. Never recorded your license plate or got a good look at you. I think they took a flyer and followed you after your meeting with Cora. With no clue it was me. It was Intergang, wasn't it? I assume so. Somehow they got wind of the book you're writing. They'll stop at nothing to prevent it from being published. We don't have to resort to Protocol Omega. Right. We'll take precautions. But we don't have to run. Not yet, anyway. I haven't had a chance to ask about the Excalibur. What about Henshaw? The ship was empty, Lois. I don't know what to think. Mr. Chambers, I have something you might want to see. What am I looking at, Colonel? In-flight camera. In flight, you say? Well, now. Commander Henshaw at the controls. So if he's not here, where the hell is he? Breet, deet, breet, deet, breet, deet, breet, deet. Light years away. The Oblivion Stone. Where is it? Goon warriors are unbreakable. Have it your way. Snap. One of their ships departed while the stone was in their possession, mistress. Its destination. The Sol system. And that ends book 2 of Lois and Clark. All right. Where were we? Let's see. Dragon Match is okay. We need to buy Ash some RAM. No, it's not. RAM's not the issue. It's losing its like login or something. It's just forcing me to re-log in. My computer's old, but it's got plenty of RAM. Let's see. 1938, the year Action Comics came out with Superman. Nice. Yeah, that was a nice little Easter egg. Good notice. That was on the mailbox or address. It was 1938. Dominic Powell says, Superman Lois and Clark remains one of the best aspects that came out of the Convergence. It brought back pre-New 52 Lois and Clark, but also introduced John, a very natural progression for Superman. Ronnie says, Channel 52 in issue number 1. Now, the house number being 1938, the year Action Comics came out. They have little meta Easter egg references. Jimmy's in the house. He says, hey. What's going on, Jimmy? I don't know what HYD is. Hide. That's something. That's something the kids must be saying. When you stop and think about it, Clark was acting as the blur due to him and Lois living underground while raising John, keeping their existence a secret from the rest of the altered DCU. Yep. Let's see. And that's it. Everyone else just saying hey to everyone. So, what'd you guys think? I think there's 2 issues, and I'm already way more interested in this book than I am Lois, or the Superman and Lois TV show. Maybe it's because I'm drinking beer. Oh, hide means how you doing. HYD. I didn't know it was an abbreviation because you did like small case letters, not like HYD. But now I know. And knowing is half the battle. Brownie points if anyone knows where that came from. I really like this. I'm not a big Dan Jurgens fan. I know some people are. RDV is, even though apparently he didn't want to stick around for Dan Jurgens. But this is a cool story. I was hoping it would be, but I wasn't quite sure that it could live up to what Tomasi had done. Curious to see what you guys think. Dragon Majesty says, good stuff. I really like it. And Zach says, I just want to see Jimmy Olsen again. Oh, he's in the chat. What are you talking about? Jimmy's in the chat. I think someone called Space Zombies earlier. I think you might be right. Dragon Majesty wins. Yep, it is from G.I. Joe. Yeah. After each episode of G.I. Joe, they would have a little, what do you call those little messages? They would have to, like, for kids to teach them to, like, not to do drugs and stuff like that. And they'd be like, oh, thanks, whatever G.I. Joe character. I didn't know doing crack was bad for me, but now I know. And then they would respond and be like, and knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. It's like, thanks, G.I. Joe, for telling me not to do crack. Zach says, I do like this book. Never knew it existed. Yeah, it kind of flew under the radar. I didn't know it. I mean, I sort of did know it existed, but when I first started researching the books, I didn't. And nowadays, a lot of people stay away because it's the New 52. And New 52 has this bad reputation. So people are like, oh, I don't want to read that crap. I try to recommend Road to Rebirth all the time. And people are like, man, New 52 Superman is stupid. And I'm like, no, reading Road to Rebirth is fucking awesome. no, it's dumb, it's dumb. I'm like, all right. um, let's see. Ash, I want you to check out my video essay I just made. It is in Discord. Well, I can check it out later. I can't do it at the moment. I'm on stream. But I will. PSA, public service ads. I think they're a public service announcement. This is what I think maybe it stands for both. I think there's, PSAs. And NBC used to do those all the time too, just normally. Like they would just throw commercials out there. And they have like the more you know with the little star. You see that people use that as a meme a lot. I remember NBC doing that all the time. Well, it's a short one. It's not even midnight yet. Hopefully you guys are adapting to daylight savings well. Hopefully this is a good pick for a book. I think I like that I could pick books that are thematic. You know, like we did Jupiter's Legacy because the show's coming out, and then this one because the show already is out. So I don't know. I thought it'd be cool to contrast. I'm definitely liking this better than the CW show. And it would have been cool. It would have been really cool if the show would have just been Jonathan and he would have been younger and we could have, like if they would have started him at age 10, that'd be really cool because every season would be like a year and they could, you'd have to age up, but 5 years, you'd only be age 15, and we get to see this growth and having Superman like learning to be a father instead of the CW approach of like, sorry kids, I failed you for 14 years. Now I'm going to try to be a dad. You're like, really? That doesn't sound like Superman. Titans Hunt was a good Road to Rebirth storyline that brought the Titans back to who they were, at least close enough to who they were pre-New 52. I've never been a Titans fan, so probably wouldn't be something I would relate to very well. But that's good if people are Titans fans. That's a title that seems all over the place, though. I can't imagine. Like, being a Titans fan would be like being an X-Men fan. It's like every time you put a new person on it, it seems to like radically change. At least that's how X-Men is. Every creative team, it's just like, oh, we're just going to take the X-Men in a completely different direction. You're like, oh, yeah, God forbid you actually do the X-Men that everyone loved. God forbid you ever do that. Let's see. There were some titles from the New 52 that I genuinely enjoyed. I didn't read much New 52, so I can't speak to it. I think Scott Snyder's Batman was cool. Tomasi was doing, was it Detective Comics during the New 52? I think Tomasi was doing Detective on New 52. I could be wrong, though. Zach says, never been a Titans fan? No. Nope. We got to remember, though, when I was young, when I got into comics in the mid-'80s, I was a big X-Men guy. And I was a big Marvel fan. And I always thought DC was kind of hokey and silly as a kid. I was more of the edgelord. And Teen Titans, first of all, the name. You put teen in a name, I was instantly tuned out. There is a philosophy on writing. I don't know who came up with this, but I heard it and I was like, oh, that makes total sense. And the philosophy goes that young kids want to read about older kids. Older kids want to read about teenagers. Teenagers want to read about young adults. Young adults want to read about older adults, and older adults want to read about kids. And it, for the most part, is true. If you are like that teenage age, you typically don't want to read about other teenagers. Like, man, when I was a teenager, the idea of Robin was the dumbest thing ever. Or like Bucky, I was like, stupid teen sidekicks. I don't want to. dude, I am a teenager. I look around me and I know none of these dipshits could be a fucking cool, like a cool superhero. Like, and just having teen in the name, and I appreciated later when they actually just became the Titans. I was like, oh, okay, finally they're growing up. I guess they're the Titans now. But then of course they just replaced it with a new Teen Titans, and now where we have a Teen Titans Academy. I'm like, you got what? So you have something younger than Teen Titans? Like, oh, is it like the pre-Teen Titans? Is that what Teen Titans Academy is? Like, this is stupid. Sorry, I'm being a little bit bombastic here, but I just was like, these are wannabe X-Men. I got the X-Men. Why do I need Teen Titans? And back in those days, in the 80s and 90s, X-Men was untouchable. There was, I mean, anything that was even partially like the X-Men, you're like, whatever. Why would I read that? Everything is wannabe X-Men. Not everything was wannabe X-Men, but I'm saying like X-Men was as good as it got. You had Chris Claremont hitting home run after home run, and X-Men continually had one of the best artists in the industry working on it. So yeah, I just never gave Teen Titans a fair shake. I do now that I'm older and I appreciate DC Comics better, because some of that old goofiness of DC that as a kid I thought was stupid, my older self thinks it's kind of cool. This retro style I just like. So I kind of would like to want to check out like older Titans, like Marv Wolfman's original stuff. So Zach says pre-Teen Titans would have been Young Justice. No, Young Justice was teenagers. I never understood Young Justice. I was like, you have Teen Titans. Why? What the fuck is Young Justice? That's dumb. This doesn't make any sense. You have Teen Titans. The Teen Titans are essentially the teenage Justice League. Young Justice sounds better. I absolutely sounds better. And once you got rid of the Teen Titans by transitioning them to the Titans, I would have never gone back to Teen Titans again. We want a teen superhero team, Young Justice. That's what I would have done. It's like when they got rid of Titans. I wouldn't go back to Titans. I was like, you got the Justice League, and then you got Justice League Odyssey and Justice League Dark. Boom. Take all the Titans, roll them up into that. That was a genius idea. I never understood why you have Titans when you have Justice League. It's just, DC always seemed to do weird shit like that things didn't make sense. But what do I know? That's just my weird opinions. Yes, Zach, Winnick's Outsiders was good. Jeff Johns' JL was cool for the first couple arcs. The first 7 issues were a blast. I don't think I've ever read his Justice League. Dominic says if you want to get into the Titans, start with the original series and then George Perez and Marv Wolfman's legendary run. Yeah, that was what I was thinking of. Melissa says she has to go. Have a great night. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Well, happy St. Patrick's Day to you too. I hope you're Irish. Otherwise, you're canceled because that's cultural appropriation, Miss Melissa. Zach says if you don't want to read teen books, you could always read Titans or Judd Winnick's Outsiders. Well, again, I mentioned the problem like Titans. I did try reading some Titans during the Rebirth era. It just doesn't do it for me. But I liked it when they rolled those characters into like Justice League Odyssey. I was like, some of the characters. I was like, cool, yeah. It's not necessarily the characters I had a problem with. Titans themselves just never made sense. I never understood young kid characters somehow just collaborating as a super team like that with no mentor. Like the X-Men made somewhat sense to me because they didn't come together, on their own accord. It was Professor X that brought them together and had them at the school, and then shit would happen, and then they would have to deal with it. And Xavier was always like training them, so they had this bond. But just the idea of random teenagers being like, "Oh, we're gonna hook up and be a team." You're like, "No, you're not. You're gonna go to school and then work your part-time job." Like, you wouldn't have time to be a superhero team, and you wouldn't be globetrotting around the planet. I don't know. It's just, again, it's those things I mentioned about earlier that they just don't take into account. It just, things just happen. And I guess, like Lois and Clark don't need jobs. They can just live in Smallville and pay for a $500,000 farm somehow. Just okay. We don't, just, things just work. Just, let's see. Zach says, I mean, by that logic, why have other teams when you have the Avengers? Well, I don't really like the Avengers, to tell you the truth. I never liked the Avengers until the MCU. I walked into the Avengers movie, that first Avengers movie. I walked into that dreading it. Even though I liked all the MCU movies up to that point, I was like, oh, God, here we go. They're going to put them in the Avengers. I knew it was coming. I never liked the event. I was silly. Like, oh, look, Iron Man and Thor and Hulk and all these characters, they just come together. Just, like, it never worked for me. I never read Avengers when I was a kid reading comics. Although I did read X-Men versus the Avengers, and that was awesome, watching the X-Men kick the Avengers' ass. Because I was an X-Men fan. But it wasn't until that MCU movie, and I walked out of that, and I was like, that's one of the best superhero movies I've ever seen. Holy shit, that was amazing. And it got me to rethink my attitude towards the Avengers. Why have I mean, I'm not necessarily against superhero teams. I just want superhero teams like to make sense. The MCU, the Avengers made more sense. They were kind of a construct of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Nick Fury kind of took these characters and put them together with the Avengers Initiative and stuff. And it wasn't like in Marvel Comics where it's just, hey, let's take all of our superheroes and put them in a book together. Like, just randomly show up. Oh, Iron Man and Thor and Hulk, they just all show up and fight together. Like, what? I never, I was one of those kind of kids. I never bought like Marvel Team Up either, or Marvel 2-in-1. I always thought it was silly. Like, oh, they're just randomly Spider-Man and like Human Torch are working together. I'm like, why would that be? Doesn't Human Torch have the Fantastic Four? This doesn't make any sense. This is stupid. That's what young teenage Ash sounded like. I grew up with pre-New 52 DC universe. Aside from Marvel, older titles are a good read. Just get more familiar with the universe. As for Young Justice, I like them and their series. Well, I've never read any Young Justice except for the Bendis one, and that was not good. I heard that the cartoon series that they had for it was pretty good. And didn't Young Justice actually start off as an animated series? I could be way wrong on this. But again, I readily admit, like, my younger days, I just had a prejudice towards DC because their characters seemed hokey and dumb. They seemed way out of date, old-timey. It's like I'm reading X-Men, and it's like, oh, you read Legion of Superheroes. I'm like, oh, what are they about? Oh, is this a character named Aqualad and Saturn Girl? And they're just like, oh, Jesus, this is dumb. Like, these characters, you put lad in a character's name. They have a character named the Karate Kid. Literally, the Karate Kid. Like, I'm like, see, it's just, I don't know. To me, like, I was like, that's dumb. Like, I'm not saying that the writing was bad or anything. Like, I didn't know. I was prejudiced because this, on the surface, it sounded dorky. Marvel made comics more cool. Like, I can't really explain it. But again, like, that was my teenage perspective. Today, I look back and that hokiness is part of the charm. But not when I was a teenager. So don't forget Impulse and Cassie Sandsmark, Wonder Girl. Wonder Girl's act. Essentially, you have the founding members of the Young Justice transitioning to become the new Teen Titans. Well, aren't they already teens? Um, that doesn't make any sense. Let's see. Zach says, okay, so replace X-Men Avengers with X-Men. My point is there can be more. There can be more than super. I'm assuming you're saying more than one superhero team. You're right. There can be more than one. I'm just saying, do it cool. Most of the superhero teams, they didn't think there doesn't seem to be anything thought out about them. They're just like, hey, here, throw some superheroes together. Ha, they're a team. And to me, I was like, that's dumb. Like Champions or the Defenders or whatever. It's just like, oh, we're just making a random team of characters. Like, okay. If you have a reason of why these characters are working together, that is, I don't know what that is, why that makes such a big difference to me, but it does. So, and remember, I mean, I loved X-Men, but I hated New Mutants. Again, not because I read New Mutants and they were bad books. I hated the concept of the New Mutants. Oh, look, it's basically the teenage wannabe X-Men team that sits around the school, and they were always dorky characters. And but when they transitioned them, became X-Force, I did like X-Force. I liked X-Factor. X-Factor was a cool concept, right? It was the original X-Men reformed, but working, what was it, for the government? With the government? I can't remember the exact nature of it, but they were supposed to be tracking down mutants and stuff, and that they had like an objective. There's an official sort of reasoning behind why they existed as a team. So that's what I like. Dominic says, I wasn't referring to Bendis' Young Justice run. As for Young Justice, it did not start as an animated series. It's loosely based off the original comic series by Todd DeZago and Todd Knock. Well, like I said, I was probably wrong. I don't know much about DC. Like my DC is the Rebirth. That's kind of when I became a DC fan. And I know a little bit about New 52 because I'm reading some of the stuff, but a lot of the older stuff, don't know. Wasn't there. I didn't pay attention to DC at all. The cartoon was pretty good for the first season. Each one that came after got more and more cluttered. I know a lot of people really liked the Young Justice cartoon. It was very popular. Zach says, you're right. I really like the Impulse's arc through the run where he tries to live up to Wally's legacy as Kid Flash. You know what I like about Impulse? Is dude doesn't call himself the Flash. That's what I love. Doesn't call himself the Flash. I am so sick of these characters appropriating other people's identities. Is the dumbest thing. People don't do that. Right? You just don't. When I got into making comic videos into YouTube, my primary influence was our boy Zach. At the time, he was calling himself Diversity in Comics. Now his Comics Matter, boy Zach. You know him, Richard Meyer. Primary influence. He's the guy that got me back into comics. Got me doing YouTube videos eventually because I was like, oh, this dude fucking just opening comics in his car. He's in a parking lot. I can do that. But when I created my channel, I didn't call myself also Diversity in Comics. Like, yeah, like I'll steal that name and I'll be also like him, just same. No, because that would have been a total asshole thing to do. Like everyone would have called me out on it. It would have just been like, what are you, some sort of dick? Like, what are you doing? But in the comic books, that happens all the time. And I don't get it. Like, why isn't anyone calling out Miles Morales like every single day? Like, dude, you're not Spider-Man. Peter Parker, Wally, you're not the Flash. Barry Allen is, Wally makes a little bit more sense because Barry was dead for 15 years. So, I mean, he was the Flash for that amount of time. So, I guess I can forgive Wally a bit. But when other kids call themselves You're just not them. Just make your own identity. That's all I ask. Dominic confirms original X Factor was working with the government. That's what I thought. So yeah, I like that stuff. I don't know if there's anything else to talk about. It's midnight. I'm tired. Why aren't you guys playing Valheim with me? I know it's a comic book stream, but I'm really addicted to this video game called Valheim. It's super amazing. Speaking of super amazing, I did read and finish all of the Jupiter's Legacy stuff. You guys joined me hopefully last week when I read the first volume of Jupiter's Legacy, which is now called Volume 3, which is the one you want to read first. I read the whole series in the order of publication date as they originally were, not the renumbered version, and that is the way to do it. Absolutely read them by order of publication, which is currently volumes 3, then 1, then 2, then 4. And it is, wow. The first volume is the best, I will say. But some of the later volumes, man, had some moments that just hit me in the feels. Like, this book really spoke to me. It multiple times, like, brought a little tear to my eye, I'll admit. Like, damn. There's so much going on in that book. And it's a fun superhero story besides. The prequel books, which used to be called Jupiter Circle, they take place back in the past with the parents. And it's really cool. It's kind of like a golden age superhero story. But I don't know if you've ever seen the TV show Mad Men. It feels like that. Like, what if you did a superhero show that was like Mad Men? And it's very interesting. A lot of. I think the show or the series is better focused on the kids, because that's what the concept is really about. But the 2 volumes that talk about the parents in their prime, it was some interesting backstory, and the Mad Men aspect of it was pretty cool. But man, did it hit me in the feels. There's so much commentary that this book has about humanity and how we treat each other, in so many different ways. Commentary on love and abandonment, betrayal, cheating on your partners, raising your kids, sticking to your moral principles versus giving in to the easier temptations. I don't know. There's so much that I just was like, damn. I really recommend these books. I'm very much looking forward to the TV show. I hope the TV show is at least as, like, if it's as good quality wise as The Boys, we could be in for something special. Dominic says, Into the Spider-Verse fixed Miles by making him his own character. Something that should have happened in the first place when he made his debut. What are you talking about? He was his own character. He was his own character in the Ultimate Spider-Man. Also, Into the Spider-Verse did was copy Ultimate Spider-Man. But the storyline was the same thing. He was in the he's the ultimate version. Sorry. He was in the Ultimate Universe. Peter Parker was Spider-Man, but Spider-Man died. And Miles Morales is a big fan. He gets bit by a spider because Bendis doesn't know how to write interesting origin stories. And so he follows in his idol's footsteps. The difference about Into the Spider-Verse is that they did the whole Spider-Verse thing and made it all the realities come together. And Miles Morales kind of worked in the Ultimate Universe because in his universe he was Spider-Man. Peter Parker died. He took up the the identity and carried it on, which I'm not necessarily against that. I am against the forcing of it, like they did with Thor. Like, no, you're not Thor. Sorry. It's stupid that you can even pick up the hammer anyway, but you did and you got some powers. You're not Thor. Quit calling yourself someone else's name. Thor's not even a title. It's like, I mean, you could have called yourself Jane, Goddess of Thunder. I mean, that would have worked. But no. All right, well, the chat is dying down, so I don't want to beat a dead horse. But I want to thank you guys for being here with me. Zach, thank you for trying to get into the chat. I don't know what was going on with the Discord, why you couldn't hear me. I hope you understand we couldn't do troubleshooting on air. But definitely next time, try again. We can try off air as well to troubleshoot whatever issues you were having. Thank you guys for being here. We will continue Thursday with issues 3 and 4. This is an 8-part series, so it'll be 4 parts on the show. Also, come back Wednesday, 7:30 Pacific time. We're going to have another chill hangout stream. And if you want to be on the panel, let me know. That is an opportunity to guest on there and talk about comics. Show up on the Discord. Also, we're there trying to make it a little bit more active. You can hit me up on Twitter. And I hope, as always, that you're reading good comics. Have a great night.